Chapter 10. Horses. The train is slowing down. I peer out the partially open door. We're coming to a rail yard dominated by what looks like barracks and stockyards. There are corrals with fine-looking horses in them. Their hooves are kicking up dust as they run back and forth behind the fences. There are men, too. All are either wearing the blue army uniforms of cavalrymen or dressed like cowpunchers. I look back at Pop. "Stay put," he says. The train stops. Voices come from outside. I step back from the boxcar door. With a whir of metal wheels, it's pulled open. A man with thick black hair and a handlebar mustache is standing there next to the burly crewman who just opened the door. The black-haired man strokes his mustache, nods his head, then shows his teeth in a wide, friendly grin. "Indians?" he asks. I don't know how to reply. No? Yes? Maybe? "You could say that," Pop says. "All right. Know much about horses?" Pop raises an eyebrow. "Only everything." "All right," the man says again. "They's bound for Chalegee. Retired cavalry mounts. Some a bit skittish, though. Help us load 'em, and then ride on with 'em. We'll give you and your boy a square meal. Deal?" "Deal," Pop says. A ramp is brought up. The crewman moves aside so that it can be fitted onto our boxcar. Pop helps settle it into place, and then the two of us walk down to join the others. We follow them to a corral holding 8 big horses. The 2 largest ones, a bay and a pinto, are galloping back and forth, tossing their heads. Retired they might be, but far from worn out. Pop leans over to me. "Been a practice of the Army to retire its horses at Chalegee. There's plenty of room for them on the 8,600 acres around the school, and more than enough hands to care for them." There's a smile on my face. For the first time since Pop started talking about the Indian boarding school. Horses. Any place with horses can't be half bad. Galloping along on a horse's back is even better than riding the roof of a passenger car. Our 3 horses are one of the things I miss most about our farm. Aside from Mom's death, the saddest thing I remember is watching them being led away. The first 6 are easy enough to catch with the help of the 2 wranglers assigned to the task, 4 mares and 2 geldings. As Pop puts the bridles on, he checks each animal's teeth. He pulls back their lips, feeling their back molars for the signs of wear that show their age. "Not a one over 14, he says. "Lots of miles left on these babies." Leading them up the ramp one by one to their stalls is no problem. I take 2 all by myself. "Boy's good with horses, ain't he?" one of the cowboys says. His dark skin may mean he's either part Mexican or Indian himself. "You could say that," Pop replies. I can hear the pride in his voice, and it makes me feel fine. "But now, we got them to deal with," the second cowboy says, gesturing with his thumb back at the remaining horses, the bay and the pinto and the corral. "Names are Dakota and Blackjack, we was told. Ought to be Trouble and Beep Nation, far as I'm concerned. Both of them are wild-eyed, whinnying, rearing up, baring their teeth, kicking up a fuss, and looking to fight." "What do you think, RJ?" Cowboy 1 asks. "Seems to me, LJ, like we got us a couple of hellions there," Cowboy 2 answers. "Nothing that a bullet in the brain won't cure," LJ adds. I suppose they're only joshing about killing those skittish horses, but the thought of putting an animal down like that bothers me. "Pop and me can get them," I blurt out. "Well, I'll be," the wrangler named RJ says. "You hear that, LJ? It turns out the boy can speak after all." He steps back, one hand on his heart, the other held out palm up, like I saw a doorman in a movie do while opening a door for a man in a tuxedo. "Go right ahead." "Be our guest," LJ adds, copying his friend's gesture. Pop and I go into the corral. Those close the gate behind us. "Want us to get a broom and dustpan to sweep up your remains?" LJ asks. RJ chuckles. Then in a serious voice he says, "You 2 take care. That bay there, Blackjack, he broke a man's arm yesterday." A small crowd has gathered outside the fence to watch, including the black-mustached man who first saw us and a bunch of cavalrymen. Pop and I pay no attention to the onlookers. Our minds are on the pinto and the bay. We don't move at first, though. We just stand there for a while, letting them get used to us. It doesn't take that long. These aren't wild horses, but cavalry mounts. They're just upset because they're being separated from the people who rode and took care of them. They don't know what's going to happen next. What happens next is that Pop starts singing. Soft at first. Barely loud enough for a person to hear. what he calls his horse song. Every morning, when we go into the barn to hitch up Austin, our plow horse, or Humpkin, or Hocolin, or matched pair of bays, who pulled our wagon, he'd be singing it. There's no real words, just sounds that are soothing. Ho, ho, yay! Hey, ay, yo! The two horses prick up their ears. They stop rearing and turn toward us. We walk their way, our hands down at our sides. Pop is singing a little louder now. Ho, ho, yay! Hey, ay, yo! The horses stand still, watching as we approach. The big muscles in their thighs are still twitching, but they're still getting calmer. We stop about 20 feet away. Pop is still singing. Me. I'm just keeping my mind calm and friendly like. Horses sense when a person is nervous or angry around them. Finally, the horses look over at each other and nod their heads like folks reaching an agreement. They walk up to us, lower their heads, and nuzzle our chests as we stroke their necks. Well, I'll be, I hear LJ say. You can open the gate, Pop says as he slips the bridles over each of the horses' heads. We lead the two horses out past the odd cowboys. I go up the ramp with the pinto named Dakota, Pop with the bay named Blackjack. We secure them in the last two stalls, then come back to the door. The crowd that watched from outside the corral is now at the bottom of the ramp. As soon as we appear, they start clapping. Pop waits until the applause stops, then he touches two fingers to his cap in a little salute. Mealtime now? He asks.